And so we start the last quarter here at Mount Gravatt at Dittmer Park with the scoreboard reading 11-20-86. That's Redlands. Mount Gravatt are 8-11-59. We've seen a couple of surges of goal runs. We saw the 5 in 16 minutes for Redland in the second quarter. They've kicked the last 3 of the third quarter just to steady. As umpire Aaron Hall raises the ball. With me in commentary is Craig Miller. Craig, you're the NEFL Northern Conference manager. You have to be happy with the way that the first round's panned out so far. It's been really competitive.
Yeah, definitely. It's been I think Broadbeach's effort last night to beat Northern Territory Thunder up at TIO was an outstanding effort. And the game yesterday, I was at the the Morningside and Labrador game. It was a really good, high-quality game of footy. And then naturally the Aspley and Southport game went right down to the wire, and Southport were too good by 5 points in the end. So it's been a good opening round, and today's game's been nothing short of that also.
Well, we said in the online break at three-quarter time to our online viewers that the Scott brothers would play a key part in that last quarter, and the first 2 players to get their hands on the ball from that centre break were Luke and Andrew Scott. Luke couldn't get an effective disposal, but Andrew did. And consequently, we've got the ball at half forward. Malone. There's that man Andrew Scott again. Howard closing on him. Didn't give away the free kick. Stevens goes in over the top and wraps up. Umpire Hall's going to bounce the ball up. Somebody just reaching for a leg there. Looks like Donny, no, it's a Jeter. Looks like he might be starting to cramp up a bit. That'll be the testing thing. It'll be interesting to see how both teams run this game out for not only the result of this, but next week too. There's that man Luke Scott. It's around onto the right foot. It's gone high. Hunter keeps his eyes on the ball. No free kick. Pennyquick was in there. Oh, Hunter butters up magnificently for a big man. Gets it onto the right foot. Down towards Tyler Jones. He overruns it, but Matty Thompson doesn't. Thompson will obviously be very keen to celebrate his 100th game in style. Took on Jesse Green there. Puts it out in front of Zufa, who looks like he's moved to full forward.
The left footer.
Got Yashira chasing him. He's just plonked it up in the middle.
50 though, right in the middle. Good attack on the footy by Nate. Nate looks up. He's got out on the wing. I think
Lavey.
It's Lavey, yep, inside to Stewart. Stewart kicks long. He's got Gross up forward.
Couldn't quite get the jump at the footy.
Gross mops up, handball spills out. Gross still on the footy, handballs it out. I think it's Nate, dangerous from here. Smothered beautifully there. Redlands look to clear out through Howard. Howard kicks it to Reese, deep in the back line. Reese looks up, plays on. The old sucker handball out the side. Howard links in to Pringle. Pringle back inside to Reese. Sort of going nowhere here, Redlands. Forward slowly, I should say. Out the back to Howard's very, very messy play. Pringle just bombs it long, and Hunter's...
They did have Hunter on in the middle there. They just couldn't see him with the way that they corralled in. The ball goes over for a boundary throw in. Hunting in numbers in defence though, Redland. That's a good sign for the coaching staff early in this last quarter. 3 minutes in, the margin's still 27 points, no side scored. It's fourth term. Malone, he's rucked manfully all day. Hunter, good work over the top, like his game. Malone again to Luke Scott. Luke Scott's obviously gone onto the ball. He's giving it his best. Jones, great tackle there by Eckerman. Ball spills out the back. That was Boone. Gave it to Salter. Salter kicks it around his body to the running Pullman there from half back. Juggles it beautifully like a basketballer onto the left foot. Nice kick, but chopped off there by Dick Frost. Good pick up off his toes there by Yashira. But he's tackled. Good mark over the back then. No, both men were in it. Luke Scott again, he has been busy. Yashira backed up well. He's got 2 men down here if he wants him. Oh, it was a well-weighted kick, but Boone just stretched out those arms. That was great work. Howard, he was busy in the first half too. Scott Stephen, the runners are looking sharp. This is Jones, who's been good off half back. Oh, Zufa, he's been hanging off the back there for about a quarter, and finally one's come over the back, and that's as easy as you like. 33 points, and you'd think after all that they've been through, that might be the final nail, even though that we're only 4 minutes into this final term.
Yeah, it was a beautiful kick from Tyler Jones. You just love seeing players who dash with the footy. The handball inside from Stephen to Jones, and it was a beautiful kick inside to Zufa unchecked. I think he just slipped his opponent there, which is Yoshiura, who'd worked hard on the transition and got caught out there with Zufa, who probably didn't follow him out, and luck's a fortune.
Yes, indeed it is, and luck's a fortune, and Daniel Zufa now has 3 goals, 2 for the day, having started the game at half back and got a ton of possession in that first quarter, showing his versatility. And see, that's the problem that Mount Gravatt are going to face. That Yashira did magnificently there. He had 2 or 3 efforts. He picked the ball up off his toes magnificently, was running down the ground, trying to provide the option, but as soon as that turnover came, he was caught out on the run back. And the result is 12 goals 20, plays 8 goals 11, and Mount Gravatt have got a mountain of work to do to get back into this. Been impressed with the fitness levels of the players. Given the extremity of this heat, I thought they may well have wilted by now, but they've all been very good. Gravatt, who was terrific in the first half. Thompson's been good all day. Stephen, who's worked his way into the game with his new team. Gravatt just burns off Malone, takes a ping at goal. The wind's going to take it. It's going to bring it just to the near side. That wind is blowing off the bay side, and we've got a minor score. Redland's 21st behind for the day.
There's a lot of tired players out there, Ron, and as you said, I mean, it's a battle of fitness, but I think both sides are definitely brave in the way they're going about their footy today. It's not as warm as yesterday, I don't think, and we haven't seen the cramping levels that we saw in the earlier rounds in the game last night and the 2 games yesterday, but definitely this heat has been a bit of a factor today in the result and the running of players. As Veering tackled there by, I think it was Donald Barry. Howard looks up, looks inside 50. Scott Pullman. Out comes Zufa. Stewart, I think it was a good throw, but clever from Yoshiro there, outside. Tyler Jones attacks the footy to Stephen. Stephen looks up. And one behind.
That was a tired kick from the Mount Gravatt defender there coming out of defence that just didn't quite have the capacity to stop and steady and think the way through it, just kicked and hoped and just went into a nest of bombers.
Nate kicks it in. It's got Mowat and Veering. They go to push there to Mowat. Mowat gets the free kick. He's going to take a few more marks around the game. Mowat, he's a good player. He played well in the practice. His practice game form has been good, but today he's just been held very well by the Redlands, although he's played a cameo role down in defence at times. That's Scott, beautiful mark by Andrew Scott. On the half forward flank, looks inside for Gross. Boone's there, good punch from Gross. Pringle attacks the footy. Boone tackled from behind. Ball spills out, Jamison. Handball over the top to Green. Green has a shot.
He likes it.
And he's kicked it.
Great work there by Jesse Green. Good work by the Vultures all round. They were very clean with their disposals in that. Again, they moved the ball forward nicely. Had good numbers around the drop of the ball. And, gee, he threaded the eye of the needle there. There were hands coming in everywhere trying to smother that, and Jesse Green's done a good job. He's played a very, very solid game. And so there's a slight faint heartbeat there for the Vultures at 12:22 to 9:11, 7 minutes into the last quarter. Again, how good was Andrew Scott's mark there? Just held his ground, tower of strength. Andrew and Luke Scott both got plenty of ball this quarter. Pennington jumps there into Paxman, back down on it. Can he knock it to his team's advantage? Pulled off the ball and he's going to get himself the free kick. Won't waste any time here, Pennington. Hasn't got a lot around him, so he's going to have to kick it down into the 50. Holds back on the kick. It was a good kick. That was Estel. He's been lively today. Really liked his game. Reece Estel hasn't got massive reward on the scoreboard, but he's got his wind on the. He's got the wind at his back. He's kicked just the one behind. He's worked really hard. He's worked a long way up the ground for his kicks. Looks like he's still got plenty of gas in the tank.
And he's a good kick for goal. So, I mean, I don't think the distance will challenge him here, but the accuracy just might be the only issue as he looks back, lays in, off the side of the boot. Got Jamison and Gross. Gross fumbles the ball over, not over the boundary line.
Starting to cramp up after that too. Young Estel.
Boundary throw in deep inside Mount Gravatt's forward 50 as Gross goes up against Pullman. Pullman, handball out. Boone with the football. Kicks it up to the centre wing. Gartner's caught behind. Gives away the free kick. Leaning over the back of Proud. And Proud just did well to get in front and earned the free kick.
He's tried hard today, Proud.
He looks up, kicks inside 50. He's got Gross and Wright. Wright just kept Gross under the footy beautifully there, Pever Wright. Experienced defender.
He's very, very cool and calm, isn't he? He's not going to get flustered in too many situations, Big Pever Wright.
Kicks out to Brad Reese. Brad Reese looks over the top at Stephen. It's a poor kick from Reese. Gets it back though. Handball's over the top. Inside, good handball from Stephen. Pullman looks up. Tackled as he kicked it. Nate picks the ball up. Handballs it out the back to Mullett. Mowat kicks inside, 50. Here comes Dick Foss from the back, up to Stewart, smothered from Reese. Howard dashing from half-back, handballs to Salter. Salter looks up, kicks to Thompson. Thompson takes the mark.
Zufa streaming towards goal. All he has to do is kick it towards goal and Zufa will grab it. Good work by Yashira. His closing speed was terrific there. And a great tackle too there by Stewart. No free kick forthcoming, so Yashira mops up. He kicks it to the hot spot. Proud was there to help. Jesse Green runs back onto it. Pennington puts his hand in the way. Yashira's down behind play. They don't want to turn it over here. Oh, good work there by Stewart. Damien Stephen goes in on top of him and we're going to have a throw up. Yashira's still on the ground.
I think it might be a bit of cramp, Ron. I don't think it's too serious.
Zufa's running right up the ground and back. And just in the intensity of that contest. Pennington, good tap over the back, which rebounded to Pullman. This is Jamison.
Dangerous if Redland's getting the turnover. Zufa still standing inside 50 by himself. Yoshira down. Good smother.
That was Brad Howard with the smother. Brilliant work.
Chris Thompson looks inside the Cast. Cast offloads to Reese. Reese takes a bounce. He looks up. He's got Pullman on the lead.
That's a magnificent
out he
kick.
comes. Good kick. Pullman marks. He's too far out to have a shot. Kicks out wide to Gartner. Gartner takes a mark. He's still 45 metres out, 45-degree angle.
Now, the space has been closed up now by Mowat, but again, that whole 50-metre arc was completely vacant for the forwards to run into. Mowat was wise to it, so there was no secondary kick coming in. But Gartner, still searching for his first goal for the club. It's a good-looking kick off the boot. It's not quite going to get the distance. It was a good effort there by Zufa. Defence there was under enormous pressure, so there was no problem there with Mowat knocking the ball through for another rush behind for the Bombers. The 23rd of the day. Those behinds are mounting up.
He's looked lively today, Zufa, as he pushed him in the back there, Gartner. Yeah, I think it was, put your hands up like that, it was a clear push, and Nate, he's been solid for Mount Gravatt too. So he looks up, kicks it up to Jamison. Jamison's tackled by Stephen, out to Proud. Not sure where to go, Johnny. Just boots it long up the middle of the ground. Dangerous kick. Hands are in the back there. So Lovey just had his hands in the back of Pullman. Pullman offloads it to Stephen. Stephen short kick to Cast. Umpire calls play on. Cast looks up. It's a grubber kick. Tommy Salter picks the ball up. Rides the tackle well. Cast gets the handball back. Feeds it out wide to Veering. Veering inside the pocket. Has a shot. And kicks... I think he's kicked the goal though, Ron. He has. He's kicked the goal, played advantage. And nice finish.
Just looking at Tom Salter down behind play there, he took a fierce blow there to the solar plexus in getting that ball out. He's not going to get much glory from that, but certainly the coaching staff will be pleased with the way he put his body on the line, and he'll come back for a rest on the bench. You'd think after that, as it's a long, long way back from Mount Gravatt now, we can start to think about next week. Tommy Solder and the next assignment that Redland have got, and that's against Southport down at Fankhauser Reserve. So that is going to be some sort of a contest.
Yeah, it will be, Ron. It's going to be a fantastic game of footy next week, and down at Fankhauser Reserve. So as the two ruckmen go to battle again, Huntery's been impressive today up against Malone. Malone wins the tap. Down to Eckerman, Cast out the back, in the... Umpire calls it in the back though. Hunter in the back of Jamison's back. Jamison looks up. Not a lot of movement inside 50. There it goes. The lead comes for Dick Foss, although it's a poor kick. Barry in front. Be in front, Ron, and you have a chance inside 50. As Barry looks.
Troy Jamison's
handballs it off to Gross. Gross from 50.
That's a goal.
That's a great kick. It's a fantastic goal from Gavin Gross.
Well, Troy Jamison was just clutching his hamstring after he spotted up Green with that kick, but he doesn't appear to be hobbling, so it might have just been a little bit of cramp. And again, great work by Gavin Gross. He attempted that a couple of times today, but he had the wind behind that one, struck the ball perfectly and registered the Vultures' 10th goal of the day.
Yeah, dangerous. I mean, when you see Gavin Gross run up through the middle of the ground and the Mount Gravatt players mark the ball around their forward 50, as his direct opponent, you just don't want to see him run around the back of the pack and kick goals from 50 metres, because he can kick them from 50, he can kick them from 60. So it's poor checking there from Jordan Bain, his direct opponent, to let Gross kick that goal off the half-back flank.
Well, that's the second time for the day that it's taken a quarter for the Vultures to register a goal. It was identical time, the 13-minute mark of the third quarter when they scored their last goal. So the drought's been broken. Let's see if they can score another one. The last time this happened, they poured on 3 or 4 very quickly. As Green sets up another phase of play. Eckerman, the Adelaide boy, onto the left foot. He's got Proud running for him. Proud's worked hard all day. And the way he's stopped up there, he looks like he's going to have a shot at goal. No, he's going to wheel around, go onto the right boot. He's pulled it to the near side, registers the minor score. The Vultures go to 10-12 at the 15-minute mark. Played Redland 13-23. It's virtually a 5-goal margin, 29 points. Very, very hard to close.
Howard kicks to himself. Outside 50. Mow it over the back of Tyler Jones. The ball spills over 50 metres out from the Gravatt goal. Tyler Jones has been impressive today with his use of the footy. Hasn't probably got his hands on the footy as often as he normally does, but his use of the ball has generally been first class today. So they'll be happy with his development.
Yeah.
He's had an interrupted pre-season, so I'm sure as the season progresses, Ron, that he'll only get better as the games go by.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a good set of wheels. He's certainly got a good burst of speed on him. He's run out the game well. Hunter liked his game too, the big northerner. Neat's been all right for Mount Gravatt. He puts his head down and goes for the football. Certainly no lack of intensity from the young man. Still fighting hard, Mount Gravatt, just lacked that little bit of polish required. The ball comes out on the members' side. Not a massive crowd here today at Dittmer Park, and it's understandable. It's just been so hot. It's you'd melt on the beach if you're down at the coast today. Boundary umpire throws the ball back in. Malone up against Hunter. Malone wins yet another ruck knockout. Hunter stretches down at ground level. Now he started something. This is Grua, the super in the first half, but the ball just wobbles off the boot. Gross sits it up there looking for Proud. Boone's been very good.
Yeah, he has
Just put himself in the right spot most of the day. Neat goes back with the football. Stops the intercept. Solder's just come back on from the interchange and he's got it running for Godfrey. This is Thompson Mack. Tries to chip it over the head of the Ashira, but doesn't quite get there, and he relieves for the Vultures. Gross, will he load up on the big left foot? No, he won't. He gives it to Stewart. Still kept Pullman just to the one goal. Oh, Gross could have run into trouble. It spilled. It was knocked out. So he just loaded up for the torpedo, but it's come off the boot. Ugly. Scott couldn't get a handle on it, but Malone could. He's given it to Stewart. To Neat. Back to Brandon Stewart.
A lot of tired players out there, Ron.
Dick Voss on the lead. This is Chris Thompson who got front and square. Oh, taken heavily there was Stephen, no free kick, racked up in the tackle. Great tackle by Chris Thompson. Umpire says, give it to me. Yeah, the intensity still hasn't dropped off that much, Funky. So I think I said a bit earlier, I thought they might have tied a bit earlier than this, but they're still going and they're still having a go. Dick Voss, that's a good knock to the advantage of Pennyquick. He can't break out of a trot though, and Pringle, who was very good for the Bombers in the first half, knocks the ball through for the Vultures to reduce the margin to 28 points. 18 minutes into the last quarter, and it looks like Redland are going to open the 2013 NEFL Northern Conference season with a win. And that's just what the doctor ordered, seeing they're playing the Superpower Sharks next week. Dick Voss chops off the kick, couldn't quite get a handle to mark it, but he's knocked it out of bounds, and Mount Gravatt will be able to reload. It's interesting watching the players now. There's not a lot sprinting over to get involved in the ruck contest as they were earlier. Dick Voss will go up against Hunter. Knocks the ball down to no one in particular. Andrew Scott, gee, he's tried hard this quarter. Got Thompson getting the kick out of there, but only goes as far as Jamison. He's got Gross floating down the ground. Gee, Gross hasn't shown any signs of tiring. He's going to load up on that raking left foot. Hasn't quite measured that right, and it's going to go through for a minor score.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of tired players today, Ron. I mean, as we alluded to a lot earlier, it's been very difficult to get on the grounds in South East Queensland over the last month, and despite what the viewers will be looking at home with the looking very dry out on this ground today, it's because they haven't been able to get on and mow it. So they've had to cut it over the last 7 days from about 25 for 250 mil down to 25 mil. So that's why it's looking a little dry, and the players, through lack of match fitness, are obviously cramping and not being able to run out the game as well as they'd probably like to.
Has Gartner got cramp? I think he's just lost his boot, so there's no concerns there. Jamison, scrambly little kick to Neat, who hasn't stopped trying. That was Mowat, but it was grabbed by Bain. Went over to Thompson. He's got Cast running, and Cast can go all the way in. Elects not to, just sizes it up. Yashira got his hands to it, and yet another rushed behind for the Bombers. Could have made better of that, the former skipper. Didn't hear a lot of talk out there telling him to keep going.
Yeah, he had a fair amount of space in front of him still, so it's poor communication from the Bold boys.
Stewart, he hasn't stopped trying. As has Scott, of the Andrew variety. Fakes his way around Bain superbly, but the kick wasn't great. Jesse Green put his body on the line. Gartner's closing. Green gets there first, taps it to his own advantage. Well done. Gives it to Don Barry. Barry's going to have to turn around two of them, and he does. Now they've got man on here. Eckerman now, he can run all the way in. Will he take a bounce? No, he elects to shoot. And Eckerman has just got his first goal for Mount Gravatt. Well, they're certainly not giving it away. You could have excused this young team for turning it up and saying, well, we've had a good crack for 3 quarters. Let's, you know, we'll drop the intensity for the last quarter because we can't keep going. But they certainly have. They moved that ball well. Great work again down in defence by Stewart. He's certainly a goer. They've still got a bit of a margin to close to. It's 20 minutes into the fourth quarter. It's 13-24, plays 11-14. That's a margin of 22 points in the favour of the Redland Bombers. You wouldn't think there'd be much more than about 9 or 10 minutes to play at the absolute most, but stranger things have happened.
There's a good finish from Eckerman. I think he's played a pretty good game today. He's new into the competition and fantastic classy finish to run and carry sort of 15-20 metres and to finish from 45 metres on that angle is a sign of a good young player. So hopefully they can get more out of him as the season progresses, but good start for him and his knee-full debut.
Well, Malone hasn't stopped jumping, and Andrew Scott hasn't stopped winning the ball out of the centre, so he's given his side an opportunity to score another goal. The umpire spotted a free kick.
And a 50-metre penalty.
And a 50-metre penalty. Looks like that was against, is it Don Barry? And that's going to relieve the pressure for Redland, which is just what Matt Gravatt didn't want. Another goal, and there just would have been to start a few heart flutters in the Bombers camp. Chris Thompson, who was good early up forward, he's been good since he's been sent back. Josh Veering in his first game, the veteran for Redland. Just chip it out wide there to Godfrey. Godfrey spears it in towards Gartner. Still working both sides of the ground, big Gartner. He's kicked it straight down the throat of Luke Scott. Just haven't been able to get the ball enough to him in the forward line. His brother Andrew worked his way up towards being one of his side's best players. Dick Foss couldn't hang on to it. Wow, Malone ran straight into right. They've got the overlap here if they want it. Eckerman lines up for goal number 2. Goes for the square, but he's pulled it far, far, far to the left, and it goes through for a minor score. And they're going to need to make every post a winner from here, Funky.
Yeah, they are.
Behinds aren't going to do them any good.
There's only been probably 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, but geez, they've put enough pressure on Redlands to really send a bit of a shake down the Bombers' campers. Kick out to Salt of the Grogan medalist. He's played a fantastic game round 1 of the Neefle 2013 season. He takes his second bounce, looks inside, kicks up to Pullman. Pullman on the lead, beautiful lead. He's 70 metres out. He's got Zuffa. Zuffa's clear. He's now lost that lead. Out to Reese. Reese takes the mark. Still 60 metres out. Long way from home. Kicks inside to Tyler Jones. Tyler Jones punched from behind by Nate. Out comes Thompson in his 100th game. Out to Stewart, centre wing. Peaver right. Sees the ball over the line.
They're both pretty happy just to say, let's go Barleys at that one and throw it in again this late in the game. Let's not have any silly knocks before next week. Jim Malone's worked tirelessly in the ruck for the Vultures. Eckerman, like you were saying, got better as the game has walked on. Jones tried to blast them away. Reese, he was terrific from early in the game. Cass on the fly, he's pulled it to the left too. And they're going to get yet another behind. 13-25. They'll be hoping to reverse that next week when they're down at Southport, Will Redland. They've still got that comfortable break over Mount Gravatt, who are 11-15. Yashira brings it back in. Looking for Andrew Scott. Well, that's just obviously a tired player because he's done a mountain load of work. Rogers, who's faded out of it. This is Jesse Green. He's kept on working. Proud gives the lead, cross half forward. He can load up from 45 on the run. He likes the look of it. He's declared it. And they've drawn a little bit closer. 25-minute mark. They've kicked their 12th, the Vultures. That was a nice little transference of play again. Draws the margin back to 1 goal 10. That's 16 points in the old margin, Funky. Do you give them any sort of a chance from here?
I think time's going to beat them, but I think Peter McLean will be extremely happy with the way that they've finished this game. There's no doubt that both teams are tired at the moment, but Redland's ability on those kick-ins to not have coverage. When he dropped the mark, but it was a clear opportunity for him to take it inside to Green. Green kicks it out to Proud, and next minute's a goal. So the transition's it's very quick, and their execution was good on that occasion. But probably disappointing aspect is that Redland's ability to man up at those kick-ins. But there's still a chance.
Yeah, that was a problem for them in the first half too. They were better at that in the third quarter. I'm sure they'll work on that for next week. Oh, Reese puts his head onto the ball. His hard ball gets has been second to none this game. As good as Andrew Scott's been for Mount Gravatt, Reese has been equally fierce for the Redland Bombers. One thing they will be happy about, 38 shots at goal. That's a fair day's work. They still won't give up as Don Barry gets the kick and butters up a second time. It bounces nicely for him. Wheels around onto the left foot. Pennyquick's in front of Pringle. Former teammates at the Western Magpies, loads up, he runs around him, he looked for goal here, Pennyquick, he is a goal sneak. They needed that one to go through, it's gone across the face of goal, out of bounds on the full. It was the right thing to do though, in this late in the game. Redland Bombers players were streaming back into the fence, but unfortunately for the home side it didn't hit the mark. Now you'd think Redland will try and slow the game down here. Although the 6-second rule with getting rid of the ball makes it a lot harder to slow the game down, and particularly when you've had to run as hard as what these players have, it makes it even harder. Good effort there on Gartner by Barry. Gartner backs up again. Good work by the big fella. Pullman, a bit hard and high for Thompson. Oh, they're under pressure here a bit, and the ball runs into the behind post, and we're going to get ourselves a throw in. The 26-minute mark of the last quarter. 103 plays 87. It's a 16-point advantage to Redland, the visitors. You think they're going to fall over the line, and look, you reckon they'd be happy to have such a hard competitive hit out going into the game against Southport Funky?
Yeah, definitely, Ron. There's no doubt that it probably he's hit the post, Proud, but there's no doubt that it hasn't probably been the cleanest game of footy from both sides. But it is round one, as we know, and it takes a little while for a lot of players to gel into new groups, but they'll be happy with the physicality of this hit out. It has been a bit in the game, and no doubt with the number of Mount Gravatt players that have moved over to Redlands in the last year or two. So it's been one that's engaged the crowd, and it's been definitely one that both clubs will walk away and say, hey, that was a good, honest, hard game of footy.
And that was gutsy stuff by Gavin Gross, backing back with the flight of the ball at the 27-minute mark of the last quarter. That's the last thing you want. And he's gasping for air there. But he's still forcing himself to get back into the fence. That's gutsy stuff by the big fella. We throw the ball in at centre wing. Malone against Paxman. Malone flies high. The umpire says, free kick to Paxman. So Carr standing right by the side of him, dishes off with the handball. Oh, Bain had it spent. He was thinking about where it was going before he grabbed it. Goes lace out looking for Pullman. Not a lot that poor old Brendan Stewart could do about that one.
And Pullman's just got to go back, settle, Ron. He's still kicked the 1-6 for the afternoon. So, sorry.
1-6, yeah, you're right.
That's right. So it'd be good for him to finish off the game with 2 goals. But there's no doubt that was a fantastic kick inside 50 from Jordan Bain, and definitely the entry that Redlands need late in this game.
Again, just pushing those forwards all outside that 50-metre arc to giving Pullman plenty of room to work with. High ball drop again, holds up in the breeze, fades to the left. Actually, that defied gravity, that one, because it was supposed to have come back on the breeze, but it didn't. It's obviously not his day. And that's a big kick by Groves. It's almost come out to the wing. Veering's there at ground level to accept it, though. Bain just runs straight through them. Brewer hasn't been as prominent, could have got a free kick for in the back. Umpire saw it. So he's going to reload again for the Bombers. Plenty of blue and white jumpers back in the 50-metre arc. Brewer looks around him to see what options are on, so he'll just go across there to Veering. Veering, who loves to quarterback it, done it so many times on this ground for Mount Gravatt. Unlike him, he very rarely misses the mark, but he missed Gartner that time. Oh, and the handball was as well. Eckerman's well wrapped up, good enough to get the ball over to Jamison. Jamison has a bounce.
Boys, they've played a good game today, Ron. They've been in and under all day. They've provided plenty of run. A bit disappointing on the turnover there. Bain has a shot from 50.
He might have finished that off in style, has he?
On the last line there, Ron.
Knocked into the post, says the umpire. So Bain kicks his second behind of the day.
Quick kick in.
Godfrey's going to be at the back and win this. He's got a 10-metre break. Malone closes. Godfrey screws it around the body. Zuffa ducked the head.
chopped his hands, I think
You
the
got the,
umpire's called there.
the chop coming. So Zuffa, who has 3 goals, 2 for the afternoon. As the siren sounds on what's been, in the end, a relatively comfortable victory for Redland. We'll see just how comfortable it is when Zuffa takes a shot, wasting no time. On the right angle for a left footer. Gee, it looks nice off the boot. Looks wonderful off the boot. Well, how ironic's on that for a game where they've sprayed 27 behinds. Zuffa kicks a goal from 45 metres on the boundary. They're 14th for the day, and Redland to triumph 14-27 to 12-16 in a game that both sides could take a lot of heart from.
Yeah, definitely, Ron. It was a good game of footy for round one, and there's no doubt that Peter McLennan and his young Vulture troops will take a lot away from that. They're going to be a very competitive side over the course of the year, and don't underestimate the power of the Vultures Footy Club in 2013, because if they could dish that up against any other side on any given day, who knows what's going to happen with them. But Redlands, you know, they're an experienced side. They've been building towards a competitive list over a number of years, and I think they'd be probably slightly disappointed with that, with the turnovers, that the pressure that Mount Gravatt put them under a number of occasions. Definitely their goal kicking, 27 behinds, even though a number of them were rushed. But there's a lot of things to work on for both clubs, and I'm sure that by round 22 this year, though, you would hope that most of those things have been ironed out.
Yes, so we get that replay of the classic first semi.